Hi everyone, thanks for joining my session. My name is Nimrod Geva and I manage QuizCon's product group. And today I'm going to talk about QuizCon Forms. Now, I'm not going to give you the complete marketing speech this time, and I'm not going to talk about how great QuizCon Forms is, review its advantages, and go over each and every feature of the product. Instead, I'm going to show you the product just for 20 minutes. And during these 20 minutes, I will show you forms that I did not prepare. So I don't have any fancy pre-designed, pre-configured forms. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to show you QuizCon Forms from the minute you install it and how you work with it to create your forms from scratch. Okay, so in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to customize a sales lead form, and I'm going to use our SharePoint online version. We also have QuizCon Forms version for on-premises. And I'm going to do a lot of things, many enhancements with this form. Let's start with the first one, which is making the form dynamic. And when I say dynamic, I mean making fields appear or hide or become deactivated grade according to who you are and according to various user inputs or according to the current context. And I'm going to show you two examples of dynamic fields. First one is the field called published on site. I want this field to be visible only if the selected lead source is ad/banner. So for any other user selection, I want this field to be invisible. Another example are the products and quantity fields. Both these fields should be visible to the end user only if the selected lead type is product license. For any other selection, both these fields should not appear. Okay, so let's get started. This is my sales leads list, and I'm going to the list ribbon, and I'll select the QuizCon Forms option. This takes me to the QuizCon Forms landing page, and in order to make fields appear or hide dynamically, I need to go to the dynamic column permissions. Okay, so let's start with the first field, which is published on site. Let's set up some rules. So I select the field called published on site, and now let's create a rule. First thing I have to configure is where do I want this rule to be applied. So I want this rule to be applied in all list forms, and I want to hide the published on site field. And now I can decide on which conditions. So I want this field to be hidden as long as lead source is not equal to add banner. Let's click apply. Because if it does equal to add banner, I do want to show this field. For any other selection, I want to hide this field. So once I click apply, below add all rules, I see the rule in a human readable format, and it says hide published on-site field in these forms. And here's the condition when lead source is not equal to add banner. That's it. Let's see the results. So I'll open the sales leads in a new tab. This will make it easier for me to switch between the views. So let's create a new item. And currently we don't see the published on site field. But if I select add banner lead source, then it will appear. And if I select any other value, it's gone. So this is how easy you can make this field dynamic. Now let's go to the other two fields, which are products and quantity. So it's actually the same trick. So let's select the product field, and let's create a new rule. Let's apply it on all the list forms. I can also apply it on list views, as you can see, but I'm not going to check it now. So let's hide this field, and I want to hide the product field if the lead type is not equal to product license. Clicking apply, and let's do the same thing for the quantity field. So quantity, and let's apply this rule in all list forms, and let's make it hidden if lead type is not equal to product license. There we have it. We have 3 rules. Now let's check how it works. So I'm refreshing the new item form. Okay, so let's make the lead source add banner. We see the published on site, and now let's change the lead type to product license, and now we see the products and quantity fields. Of course, if we change it to any other value, these fields are gone. So it's that easy to make your form dynamic according to the user input and according to who the user is. I didn't show you, but maybe it's a good chance also to show that I could add additional conditions, yeah, and have an and or operator between the conditions. So a condition can be made of a couple of conditions, and also up until now I used only columns to create my conditions, but I can use other parameters such as current user, content type, and I can say, for example, current user in or not in some SharePoint group or Active Directory group. So you can create really complex conditions to make your form really dynamic. Parts appear and disappear according to what the user does with the form. Okay, so let's move ahead. And the next thing I want to talk about is how can we make our form look better? And look better is by changing the layout of the form. So making it maybe multi-column, unlike SharePoint, which has only one column. So this way I can better use the real estate that I have on the screen, and also make it multi-tab. And this way divide my long form into multiple sections. Each has the relevant fields grouped together. And let's say I want to get to this result. So have 3 tabs with some fields on each tab. So let's get started. I'm back in the KWIZ Forms landing page, and this time, in order to change the layout of the form, I'll click the Field Group Tabs button. And I don't know if you expected some sophisticated drag and drop designer like InfoPath, which enables you to drag fields into table cells and deal with pixels and alignments and so on. This is not the case. We keep the business user in the logic level, so you won't find it here. Actually, it's very similar to the other page that you saw. It's all about rules. So let's start with just making my form a multi-column form. And also, if I make it multi-column, I would like to make the field captions appear above the field. So let's make it a 2-column form and click apply. So I still don't have any tabs here. Let's just see the result. So instead of this form, let's click refresh. We have this form. So as you can see, we have 2 columns instead of 1. And for each field, the captions appear above the field and not left to the field. And this way I can make the form with 4 columns, 5 columns, or whatever. Okay, but let's go on and now make it a multi-tab form. Now, in order to make a form multi-tab, I need to create field groups and then assign fields to groups. So let's do it. Let's begin by creating our first group, and let's call it account details. And I can inherit the number of columns from the default, but I can make every group or every tab have different amount of columns in the page. So for this form, for this tab, I would like to have just one field in a row. Okay, so let's add some rows. I'm clicking the plus sign here, and I have 2 rows in my form. Let's click the plus here and add the account field, and below it I want the account contacts field. I can also add conditions, which means I can condition the visibility of a tab. So some users will see it and some users won't see it. Again, according to who you are and according to values of some fields. Okay, clicking apply. Let's see the results. So back to the form. Let's refresh it. Okay, so we have a single tab with just these 2 fields. Now let's create additional groups. This one we'll call lead details. And let's keep it with 2 columns. And let's add some rows. So because I have 2 columns, I get a grid here with 2 cells in a row. Okay? And now I'm just adding the fields according to the order that I want to see them. So let's say I want to see lead source, and next to it I would like to see the published on site, which will not be always visible. And below let's put some more fields. Let's have the products and the quantity. And let's have the status here. Okay, and I can say, okay, I want the lead type to capture the entire row. So I can increase its column span, and you see that now it captures the entire row. Okay? I can also, by the way, add some HTML elements. So if I want to include just free text or horizontal, free text actually gives me everything because it's a rich text editor. I can add whatever I want. Okay, so let's finish with this, and let's add another group, and we'll call it upsell info. And let's add some rows. And here we'll have the upsell checkbox, and below it I'd like to display the upsell details and the upsell amount. Okay, we're good. Now, because I left it empty here, we automatically fill the gaps. If I didn't want this field to go up there, I should have captured the entire row for the upsell field, but it's okay. Now let's see the results. So I'm refreshing the page. Okay, so we have 3 tabs now. And of course this is dynamic, so if I select product license, I will see the additional fields. So this is how we created a multi-tab form. Additional options are to change the rendering from tabs to accordion. Let's click apply. Okay, so this gives us a different rendering of accordion sections, and I personally don't like this rendering type too much, so I'll get back to tabs. Also, as you can see, we inherit the SharePoint theme, unlike InfoPath, for example. So of course all the styles are the same as your customized, as your branded portal. You don't have to design this form separately because actually it's the same SharePoint list form, just enhanced. But still, if you wish to change the styles, so to have different styles in your forms than in your portal, you can override the style sheet by providing your old style sheet. The details are in the admin guide. Okay, so next enhancement I'd like to do is make fields here cascaded fields. And specifically I'm talking about the account and the account contacts field. I would like the account contacts to be filtered by the selected account. Currently these are two lookup fields, and of course there's no connection between them, there's no filtering. That's the thing that we would like to achieve. So let's get back to our KWIZ Forms landing page. And in order to manage cascading fields, I'll select the cascading lookup option. And let's start with the account field. Now the account field is a regular lookup, but I wish to make it a cascaded lookup. Now, why do I want it to be a cascaded lookup? It's not going to be filtered by any field, but it's the one which filters the other field. But there are some other advantages to KWIZ cascading lookup. One of them is the ability to cross the site barrier. So unlike an out-of-the-box lookup, you can look up lists that are not on the same site. And also it includes built-in filtering, which I'll show you in a minute. So I want to connect this account field to this site and to the customers list. And this is the field that I'd like to display. And you can also filter the displayed items by a view of the remote list, but I won't do it. And actually that's it. Let's click apply. And the second field is the account contacts, and this one needs to be filtered by the account field. So it's connected to the contacts list and displaying the contact name, but this time I'm filtering based on the selection made in the account field. And how do I accomplish this filtering? Because in the account contacts list we have a account lookup field, we can compare now the selected account with this customer lookup field and show only the contacts, sorry, that are connected to the selected account. Okay, so let's click apply and let's see the results. So let's refresh the screen. Okay, so first thing you may notice that we have a text field here. And of course, it's enough to type some characters and it will enable me to quickly find the account that I'm looking for. And once I select an account, I see here only the contacts that actually belong to that account. Okay, so nice and easy. Let's go ahead to the next topic. And this time it's dynamic field validations. Now SharePoint has its own validations. You can validate a field as mandatory, or if it's a number you can validate the minimum and maximum values and so on, and you can use some Excel-like formulas to perform more advanced validations. Here I'd like to show you a simple example of dynamic validation. And in this example I have the upsell checkbox and two additional fields related to upsell, which are upsell amount and upsell details. Now I would like to validate these two marked fields as mandatory, but I would like to do it dynamically, so not always. They should be validated as mandatory only if the upsell checkbox is checked. So this is a dynamic validation. So let's see how easy it is to accomplish this. So let's get back again to the KWIZ Forms landing page. Okay, and let's go to Field Constraints settings page. Again, as you can see, it's extremely looking quite the same as all other pages. It's all about rules. So UI is very consistent here. So let's take, for example, the upsell details field, and let's add a rule. And I can validate this field with relevant operators. They are relevant to the selected field type. So I want to validate it as mandatory. And now we will add the conditions. So I want to validate the field as mandatory only if upsell field is equal to yes. So only if the user checked the upsell field. And exactly the same thing I want to do with upsell amount. So again, I want to validate it, and here you see there are many other operators, but I want to validate it as mandatory. Again, only if upsell is equal to yes. So by clicking apply, I have these two rules, and let's see how this works. So let's refresh the page. And let's click save. Oh, sorry, I didn't check the upsell field, right? So checking the upsell field, and let's click save. Okay, so you might notice that I have this validation summary panel just above the tabs. And why do we have this panel? Because when you have tabs, you don't see all fields right away. Yes, many fields are hidden from you because they are located in other tabs. So there's no way for you to know which fields caused a validation error. So that's why we show a summary of all validation errors with links to the appropriate fields. And also in the tabs you can see this exclamation mark showing that in this tab we have validation errors. So let's put some data here, and here I'm just going to uncheck the upsell field so it won't validate the fields. Now another thing that I wanted to show you about validations, let's select the title field, for example. So as you can see, we had all these operators, but one of the more interesting operators is match pattern. And match pattern enables us to validate more advanced patterns such as date or email addresses or phone numbers, postal codes, zip codes, etc. All of these are ready to use patterns that you can use. But if you want, you can add your own patterns. All patterns are based on regular expression, and I apologize, this is the only technical term that I use in this session. And if you want to add your own patterns, or you will need some technical user to add regular expressions. Once you add it, it will be available like all other patterns in this shared library, so users will be able to use it without having to know how it was created. Okay, so moving on to the next topic. I think it's the final topic also. Yeah. How can we process some automatic, have some automatic process here based on the input of the user? Now, I'm not going to open SharePoint Designer and start messing with workflows and activities with this. I want to create some process in the same easy way as I did all other things from this web interface. So the scenario that I'd like to demo now is as follows. We have this lead that we enhanced up until now, this list, and I want to implement the following process. When a user saves a lead and changes the status to customer approved, which means this sales lead is approved by a customer, and click save, I want a new order to be created in another list, in the orders list, with the data taken from this lead, of course. And then I would like to send some email maybe to the user who manages this lead, maybe to the customer, maybe, I don't know, to someone. But I would like to automate this process based on some values and based on the fact that the user saved the item. Okay, so in order to do that, we have custom actions and activities. Custom actions are containers of activities. You can do many things with custom actions. Activities are atomic actions, like update item, insert, add item, send email, etc. Now let's go to custom actions. Let's add a new custom action. Now we have two types of custom actions. We have automatic actions, and when you select an automatic action, you have to say when do you want this action to be automatically triggered: when item is added, when item is deleted, and when item is updated, or on several events. Or a custom action can also be a ribbon button action. And if you select a ribbon button action, you have to configure the displayed caption and maybe the images and confirmation message and so on. Let's go back and make it an automatic action because I want it to happen automatically when an item is updated. And let's call this action create order. Let's give it some description: create order when lead is approved. Okay. Next thing, I have to select activities. Unfortunately, I don't have any activities, so we'll create an activity in a minute. And then I have to say when do I want this custom action to run? Every time someone saves it? No. I want this to run when the lead type is of type product license, and I also want it to run only when the status is equal to customer approved. And let's click apply. The only thing missing is what do I want this custom action to do when it's happening. We'll have now to go back to our forms landing page and go and create an activity for it. So let's do it really quickly. Let's create a new activity. We will call this activity will be of type add item, and we'll call it add new order and give it some description: add new order based on an approved lead. And now let's configure the properties. So I want this activity to update the orders list, and I want to update the following fields. So I want the customer to be equal to the current account field. So in order to use an existing field, I'm using a token, just brackets, the column name with brackets. And to update the ordered product, I can, because it's a lookup field in the target list, I can just select a product, but this time I don't want to select a specific product. I want the product field to be updated with the selected product in our list. So again, I'm using the token. And finally, I want also to update the quantity to be equal to the quantity field. Okay, so let's click apply, and let's get back to the custom action. Of course, in normal scenario, organization have the activities ready and just need to select them, but we did it all in one shot. Okay, so going back to the custom action, let's select an activity. So we have only one activity called add new order, and once I select it, I can see it here. So add item to orders and set these fields. Normally I would need another activity also to set the lead to something, the lead status, but let's leave it as is. So we have on this custom action has only one activity. So clicking apply, let's go to the sales order again, and let's edit one of the items. But before this, I want to see the orders list. So this is the orders list. Let's refresh it, make sure it's empty. And now let's edit one of the leads. Now, in order for it to run, for the custom action to run, I need the lead status needs to be customer approved, and it needs to be of type product license. We have quantity of 20, and we have this product, document quick preview. Let's click save. And let's go check what happened if it ran. So going back to the orders list, yeah, I see it worked beautifully. Of course, if it didn't work, I would need to go and look into the custom action log, but this is a subject for a more detailed session. Okay, so this was a really quick session about KWIZ Forms app. In case you have any questions or require a private demo, a deeper demo, please feel free to contact us at sales@kwizcom.com. Thank you, bye-bye.